Hey, what up, everybody? Stevie Breach coming to you. In this video, I'm doing a video response to good old freaking EI88. The video he put up on CM Punk against Stone Cold Steve Austin. And he made a great point saying that he really wants to see a match between Stone Cold Steve Austin against CM Punk. And I think that is a match that everybody would want to see. CM Punk is a guy that, a lot of people right now say remind of Stone Cold Steve Austin, the rise that he had in 96 and 97 to the top is the same sort of a line that CM Punk is saying. He's not really coming out and cussing all the time, but he is saying the things that, probably aren't on the script for him to say these days. Um, and honestly, a lot of me wants to see this match, but I have to really take up a stand for the rest of the roster that's out there, because I say this in a lot of my videos. So, I sort of feel like a hypocrite if I was to say fill this WrestleMania up with stars of the past that aren't really around anymore. Your main event's already booked. You got CM. I apologize. Your main event's already booked. You got John Cena going up against The Rock, and as he said, it's probably gonna be one of the biggest matches of all time. For WrestleMania wise, they'll stand up to Hogan and Andre. No doubt in my mind that this is what's going to put him over the top for buys this year. It's going to bring all the past Rock fans to come back, because honestly, we're not going to see The Rock in the ring have a match until then. So this is the draw to make people cop up those money and actually order the pay-per-view instead of watching it on a stream or waiting for the DVD. People are going to want to see this when it happens, as it happens. But if you bring Stone Cold in, that's another attitude guy that's really not on the roster anymore to have a match. And more than likely, you're going to have Undertaker come in for, try and see if he can do the 20-0 for whoever he wrestles. I would love for it to be Triple H. That's another guy, Triple H, the guy that's, I guess you can say he's on the roster because he's, the COO, CEO of the company right now. And, I mean, there's four guys that aren't on the everyday roster that don't wrestle on Monday Night Raw or SmackDown that's going to take up a spot on the card. I mean, if you look at the past few WrestleManias, WrestleMania 26, 27, I apologize, 25 and 26 had 10 matches, and then they tried to have 9 matches last year at WrestleMania, and they ended up having to bump the Sheamus and Daniel Bryan match to the dark match, which ended up becoming the Battle Royal to get everybody else that wasn't on the Mania card. That's their way of saying sort of like thank you. Gets them it doesn't give them a big bonus as it was to get them on the card, but at least it gets them a piece of that WrestleMania bonus that everybody works hard for all year. It's sort of a way of saying thank you for all the hard work, and it is the biggest payday of the year. But then, also your core match went less than 2 minutes, and that was how they got 8 guys on the card as well. And then also your MTV match where you had good old Snooki and Dolph Ziggler. They went up against their team of John Morrison and then the others. That only went about 3 minutes and some change. I mean, they don't really have a whole lot of time. And if you're getting big time to big matches, I mean, honestly, your Rock and your John Cena match, that's guaranteeing a half hour, maybe even more when you count the entrances and all that. And I would give 30 minutes to Stone Cold and CM Punk. I mean, you would have to. That's a dream match that, like you said, that everybody wants to see. So how are you going to find time for all these other guys? Last year we had to stash guys like new stars like Brodus Clay, and a guy that's the champion now, or was, Christian, was the manager of the Edge match. I mean, there's some things you can say that some guys that disappear from WWE, whether they get released or whether they they just fade away or retire like Edges. So there are spots that are going to open up, but you can't give all your spots to guys that aren't on the everyday roster to wrestle at WrestleMania. That's your biggest show. That's your billboard that you put out. That's what they do the NBC special for. That's great every year. That says this is WrestleMania. This is WWE. If you like this, you'll like the rest of our stuff. I mean, that's what it is. It's your big billboard for everything. And you really can't put your billboard out there saying, come watch, these are the stars, but when they're the stars of yesterday, The Rock and Stone Cold, that they have WrestleMania matches, they might show up on Monday Night Raw the next night. It's going to be in Miami, but they're not going to be the next night when it's, in Atlanta or wherever the closest town to Miami is to host Raw after that. Or if they go to Birmingham, Alabama, it won't be far. They're not going to make the trip there. The Rock and Stone Cold sure aren't going there. And WrestleMania needs to end a lot of feuds, but a lot of feuds are going to run through. And You need something to fill those Raws and SmackDowns. It doesn't really make sense, why they'd bring all these guys back. It is guaranteed buys, but at the same point, these guys aren't going to be there forever, and that's what I'm standing up for. I'm standing up for the guys like John Morrison and Dolph Ziggler, Jack Swagger, Daniel Bryant, the guys that are out there that that work their ass off, that the guys that we watch on TV every Monday and Friday, and say that's the guy I want to see more. And if they're not going to be on WrestleMania, I mean, what's the point? I want to see those guys because those are the guys I see every Monday and Friday.